Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, you have landed on a Ginger Chick Rehab where I love to go treasure hunting. I love to look for secondhand finds that I can give new life to. In today's video, I am working on my stash. Throughout the year, I am constantly looking for items that I can put together and make into new Christmas decor. So that is what I'm doing in today's video. It is finally that season. I can work on my stash and we can get some Christmas decor made. And it doesn't always have to be difficult. The difficulty part was trying to find really old vintage trucks. Throughout the whole year, this is the only one I ever ran across that I could afford to buy. I know they're vintage Tonkas and all that, but well, this one's a Jeep. And I really just recently got this one, so I was super excited about it because I'm like, yes, finally I can do my little truck thing I wanted to do for Christmas decor. So first off, it needs a bath. It was a well-loved toy back in this day. Because really, all I want to do is take a bottle brush tree, take that wooden part off, and tie it onto the back. I want it to look vintage. This is a Dollar Tree, actually, bottle brush tree. I want it to look vintage. I want it to be that real, well-loved, played-with car. Little did I know how hard it was to find them. So I took the base off the bottle brush tree, took those goldy beads off just to give it that vintage look. A little bit of hot glue, which is not going to hurt either of these two items if we choose to take them apart and use it for something else or keep it for Christmas decor, whichever. Like I said, it's a Jeep. So, Jeep truck. I love the vintage of it. I mean, how cute is that? We see the reproductions of these all over right now this time of year, but I really wanted a vintage one. And then to make it look like it's not going to fall out of the back of that truck as you're driving down the highway or down the road, I'm taking some larger, it's a little bit on the larger side, jute string and tying it off. So I kind of just played a little bit to see how much I wanted it to be noticeable that I want to crush that tree too awful much. So what is it about old boxes that I don't know about you all, but I'm like, okay, I need it. I have to have it. Okay, now what do I do with it? Because I have a stash of boxes. And they're usually have been used out in the barn, the workshop, the cellar, storage. And I want to make them into pretty decor. So it's always that, okay, I got to put the time in and I got to clean it because it's never very clean. So, yep, it's always that process, but there's just something about these aged boxes, especially when they have stampage wording on them, any labeling. Oh, be still my heart. But I want to add one of my hymnal music sheet book page wreaths to this. Now I need to make this one a little bit smaller, so I'm just using a half of a half of a half of a half, yeah. Anyway, so these are so simple. They look intimidating, but they're not. I mean, really, you're just taking a piece of paper, you're scrunching it around some kind of a pokey tool, whichever one works for you, adding a little hot glue, waiting for the hot glue to set up just a little bit, and you're basically putting balled up paper onto a wreath, and by the time you get quite a few on, it all of a sudden becomes this beautiful decor piece. Now, I have two different stacks I'm working with from 2 different pages. As you see, there's some color difference. And once the color really gets to be that brownish color, sometimes the papers are unusable. They just disintegrate as soon as you touch them. So I am happy to give these new life. You know, the books are usually falling apart. And so what I'm going to do is just every other one, I'm going to switch back and forth to integrate the papers together so I can use up what I have. If you're a regular on my channel, you know that I have made these quite a few, but it is one of my best sellers. I love it. It's classic. You don't have to use it just for Christmas. It is a year-round neutral piece that's just a showpiece once it's done. So up until this point, I did half of a half pieces, but I want to make it a smaller wreath. So depending on how big you leave the paper is how big you can make your wreath, especially what your form is. This form is just from the Dollar Tree store, so you can buy bigger forms like this. So now I'm using a half of a half of a half of a however that goes. I don't know how many halves that is, but I didn't want it to be quite so large, so I cut it one more time down, and I'm going to finish off the side of it. So I do need to give my little wreath a haircut. Just there's a step from the half-halves to the half-halves. So I'm just going to go on that round and just give a little trim of anything that's sticking out that's really noticeable that I change the size of the paper down. Now, I'm sure this box probably back in its day was used as a tray, as a drawer, and it held Dennis's items, but I love it as a decor piece. So we're going to flip it onto its side and we're going to add this wreath. Now the wreath is going to be bigger, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be like this perfect fit to go in the middle, or it doesn't have to be flat. It's that perfectly imperfect. So I'm just going to find the best way that I think that I can attach it with just a little bit of hot glue to this box. And the form from the Dollar Tree store and the paper like weighs minimal. So hot gluing a couple of the papers onto the side of the box. If you want to remove it sometime, you also can. It won't hurt very many papers. As gorgeous as this already is, I have some of these aged numbers. I love these. They're just flashcards of numbers, and there just happens to be 25 in there for the Christmas Day, and I just love it. And I'm going to glue it onto the wreath. Now the same thing if it wants to be removed. Now the hot glue necessarily won't be as friendly to this 25 as it will be to the paper if you want to remove it, but if you add a little bit of heat before removing it, you sure can. Or this is just a classic look for every Christmas. So as you see, I off-centered that wreath so we could put some decor next to it. Of course, it's got to have some more decor. So I love the idea of bottle brush trees and old doorknobs. And look at this rusty, crusty one. Oh my goodness. And I'm able to put the screw back in. I hope the screw doesn't interfere with me gluing it in. We'll find out. So I love the cream colors. Those are my neutrals. You could do whatever color you want, but the cream will go with the wreath and the 25 paper. Oh my gosh. So yep, you just fill that doorknob up with some hot glue. Take the brushed bottle tree off of its wooden base that the manufacturer put in there, and then just stick it in that hole and wait for the glue to set up a little bit so you can keep it straight up and down. And I am able to put that little screw back in. Oh, I'm happy. There's just something about those older doorknobs and those bottle brush trees. So I have one I previously used that I was going to keep for myself because I love that age of that chippy paint on there. And then I had to search high and low. I was trying to find a Santa, and the only Santa I felt it would go with this, I just found the other day, was this beeswax candle Santa, but the color is perfect for this vignette. Of the Hobby Lobby trees. I'm working on Christmas. So I want to change out the base of these. I love these. These are so inexpensive, but it's fun to change out and put it into something else. These ones have the little fake pine cones, and I think these are super sweet greenery for the season. So we need to change this out. Let's see what is underneath here. Undress the tree. Are we supposed to be dressing the tree for? So styrofoam ball and a piece of cement. I got big old bolt cutters because these are heck of I did not say that was gonna be easy. Okay, stop pulling the string because all I'm doing is unraveling it. Oh, that's what the string was there for. I can fix that. I'm like, oh, okay, it's not just a string. It's not just an extra string just hanging there. But, oops. Learn from my mistake the first time. Don't pull it, cut it. So it's funny when you're working on your stash and you go to your wood pile and you're like, hey, so what do I have that would be a wonderful replacement base for these trees that's sturdy enough, heavy enough, tall enough, and I have these fence post toppers that I thrifted back in 2020. But I just hadn't found anything to use them, and I wasn't going to get rid of that nice piece of wood. I already removed the screw on this one, and now I'm going to be drilling a big hole. So I need a big drill bit, something that's a little bit bigger than what this stem is. And because I smushed it in those bolt cutters, it's a little bit bigger than it started off to be. So I actually need to go down quite far on this. That way that the tree is not top heavy, that it topples over. So probably almost to where my first finger is, like halfway down. So most of that tree trunk is going to go into this base. So if you're wondering how I removed the screw, you can take like a pair of pliers and then, unscrew it. But I like just to put that screw into a vise, get it nice and tight, and then just start twisting on the item. It has always worked out well for me. But I didn't have any old salvage pieces to put these trees in, so I'm going to make some old salvage pieces. So I'm using Sweet Pickins milk paint in the Flowers hat color, a couple scoops, just a small little batch just to paint these up. So equal parts powdered, equal-ish parts of water. And then you stir it till it's nice and mixed for 2 minutes and then sit it off the side for about 10 minutes to let it thicken. While my paint is thickening up, I am going to take just some candle wax. This is just a votive, and I'm rubbing the candle wax all over this piece. I want to have some chippiness going on, and candle wax is a great base for underneath the milk paint. When you're doing this technique, I would not suggest using a heat gun or a blow dryer to help speed up the process at all, because you'll just be melting your wax underneath. So I let these completely dry, and actually I let them dry overnight, and now I'm just taking a scraping tool and scraping that paint off. See, even though I applied it all over it, it just kind of hit or miss on where the chippiness will come off. Oh, I love this technique to make something look old and vintage. But we got that nice bright white that does not look old. So we're going to add a little bit of dirt. I'm just going to use some of the Fusion's Antiquing Glaze and then a little bit of the Color Fusion's black wax to achieve just some age on this paint. It just will look like it's soaked in the elements. People have touched it here and there. It may be rolled around in the dirt a time or two, but it'll just add that age that the bright white doesn't. So now where I had that boo-boo where I pulled the string and I should have cut it, I'm just using some brown floral tape. And actually I like the brown floral tape better than I really like that shiny string that they use to hold the greenery on. But it's neither here or there, but it doesn't matter. So yes, I'm just going to wind it up around the base, and then I'll start adding those stems back in that I accidentally took off. Changing that base out is beautiful as it is, but to add it into some very rustic, antique looking decor, I have these wood rounds. I don't even know what they are. They may be little cutting boards, but they have beautiful aged patinas. Then I also picked up these for minimal at an antique store. They had a little like peg there, a metal peg, but I just took it over to the vise and snapped it off, and now they sit flat. Before they weren't sitting flat, and that's probably why they were so inexpensive, but I love the patina of them. And can't you just see them sitting on these little wood bases? Love that little, I don't even know, it was probably, they probably hung off something, but they're so stinking pretty, I couldn't stand myself. And then I want to add a ribbon to this, but I don't want to do like a seasonal Christmas ribbon. I just want to do a classic. Like you could leave these out all winter long. So I just have some of this black ticking stripe that I'm going to just, all I did was rip a couple little strands, tie it around. I wanted to leave them long and hanging. Oh, I just love this whole package. So now I'm going to do an old chicken feeder. Oh, is this that metal, that aged metal? Oh, now this one does have a wire in the middle of it. I'm going to work with it. I'm not going to take that off. I love that it's vintage like that. So, but I can envision putting this in like, an area like on your table or a buffet or something like that, your coffee table. But there's just something about lights at the holidays. So I'm going to use a lighted strand and the base of this all. I purposely ordered these little candle rings. They're a boxwood type of ring from a wholesale company because I knew that I had a few chicken feeders that I wanted to decorate up for the holiday season. And I thought, well, these are nice because they're full, they're small, and they fit right underneath all that. Is that not too cute? As beautiful as those are, I like to add a little bit more texture. So I'm going to add, these are 2 candle rings I'm going to cut up. I'm going to pull off the evergreens on these and then randomly stick them in just to give it that wintry feel. I only have the 2 candle rings and I'm really thinking about my placement, so I kind of just staggered them going down and then zigzagged on the opposite side so that it looked like this was all throughout this whole arrangement. I do think this needs to be a little bit more festive, and I actually thrifted these, and I think I'm just going to start off using the white berries, and I'm just going to cut them off and glue them in. The fun of creating is you just keep adding until you love it. So I love those little white berries. I had this very used pip berry that the berries are still good, the stem not so much. So I'm just going to add a little bit more visual using these kind of just throughout. I'm just kind of having fun with this arrangement. I have never actually done a chicken feeder before. I love to work with florals and make arrangements though, so I'll just keep on playing for y'all. I love this simple ribbon that just has that red stripe. I use a black one also, and I get it from the sewing section at Hobby Lobby. I love it. So I'm just going to add a couple little, just not bows, just a couple little knots that trundle over. I'll cut them down. But I thought, it needs a little something. It just needs a little extra to give it that like little festive going on. I tried the bow. I didn't like the bow. Just the ribbon. Since I wasn't really filling the bow, I do have these little clay stars and some are red. So I think it does need a little bit more pop of red. And I think I have exactly 5 Godwink moment to fit onto this. There's the brown ones, but I didn't really think, I could have overlaid the brown ones, but the brown ones are much larger, kind of too large for this chicken feeder. So I've yet to feel like it's complete yet, but I'm still thinking on that music sheet paper that I just love. So I'm going to make little rolls, put a little bit of hot glue to keep them together, and then I'm going to kind of backfill them underneath the star and the ribbon. And I have just a few more tweaks that I'm going to do. I think one of the things that was really bothering me is the very plasticky green pine cones. So I'm going to actually snap those off. I'm going to change them out for some better pine cones, some that, yeah, they're way more brown, and these are actually real pine cones, just little bitty ones, and I'm going to exchange those out. And then I am going to add some red berries. I just think it needs more red. Maybe because my boxwood was so dark, I just feel like it needs some lightness to it. So I have another box that is a little worse for wear. You can see the one brokenness on the side, but if you turn it around, it's beautiful. It's amazing. It has some writing on it still, some wordage. Oh, what to do with this beautiful box that I've had in my stash way too long. Now, if I don't have to wet down a box with Buto Patina, I'm not going to do it. So, other than getting the dust and the debris out of the inside of it, I'm just taking the air compressor and doing that. Kind of like sweeping, but not really sweeping. So, I ordered this amazing bunch from a wholesale company. Oh my gosh. Pictures did not do this bunch justice at all. It is gorgeous. And I know that it's going to take a lot to fill up a box. The box was minimal. I've had it for years. The foam I thrifted, you saw, $2, but I definitely want to have something underneath to lift it up because I want to be able to, as beautiful as that bunch stem is altogether, I want to be able to separate it and get a lot of, less used inside the box. I know this box is huge and it probably would be cheaper to do fresh greenery, but it dries out. You have to make sure you water it or you have to leave it outside, and it's only used for 1 year and it's done. So my plan is for this to be something you could use year after year. And I'm able to get these foam blocks in there nice and tight so that there's not going to move around. So I still feel like cutting it apart, I can fill more surface area than just sticking it in on the stem, and then it actually would be too tall. I can variegate the heights of it. So just taking some wire nips and nipping them all off the base stem. So I ended up using a total of 6. Ouch, I know, but it's a big box. So, and I still have some more filler I want to put in with this, but it is just gorgeous. I love the variants of different types of evergreens that it has going on. The pine cones are amazing. Yeah, I said 6. I used 6. So, I know. Anyway, I have some berries that I picked up from Hobby Lobby. I'm trying to decide red, cream, red. I think red. I'm positive red. Yeah. those berries might be a little too big. So it's so hard to know when you go pre-shopping. pre-shopping. So on these, I'm just going to cut down some of the wire stem on them, and then I'll just bend them around to fit into the arrangement. The wire stem's just a little too big. I think the box speaks for itself. I don't think it needs any wordage or anything like that. But I do want to add a little bow ribbon on there. And I don't know why. Can't they just have plain ribbons in the holiday section that are on sale? Nope, I always end up going to the other section where the full price ones are. But I just wanted a simple burlappy wired ribbon to tie a bow that wasn't shiny, that wasn't velvet, that was just plain, I guess. So I'm just trying to work it underneath that rim there, and then trying to leave myself enough to tie a bow. And as I was working on this, I just happened to remember that I had these two thrifted lights. Well, it's actually one strand. It looks like it's two, but it's one, that are attached, just battery operated. And I'm like, oh, I think that would be pretty. Probably should have integrated those before while I was doing the greenery, but I think I can make them get in there. But I need to figure out how to change the batteries out. I thought it was just a slide, but it looks like it's those little tiny screws, and do the replacement batteries to make sure it works. So I know that they look like they're straight out branches, and you could leave them straight out branches, but I'm actually going to bend them. They're bendable, and I'm going to kind of intermix them in with the greenery so they're not sticking above it. So thank you so much for watching today's video. Have I inspired you to get into that stash, or maybe you're already in your stash that you have been collecting for this season? I just absolutely love envisioning things. Not necessarily are they things that are supposed to be for Christmas, but we just create Christmas decor out of them or into them. So let me know down in the comments below, have I inspired you in any way to look at secondhand finds in a new way, and what was your favorite item that I created today. So again, thanks for watching today's video, and as always, if you're part of our YouTube family, thank you so much. And if you're new and you're checking out this channel and you stayed to the end, I think you like this kind of content. So smash that subscription button along with the notification bell. Uploaded a new video, and we will see you next time, guys, and you can see what we're up to. Bye.